Yo guys, Ponchy here, and today we're going to learn how to sequence an external synth via MIDI on our Elektron Syntakt. Let's go! Alright guys, so first thing you want to do is, of course, hook up a MIDI cable from the MIDI out all the way to the MIDI in of whatever MIDI device or synth that you're controlling. Second step, you want to make sure that your MIDI setup is good to go. So go to the global settings menu, go to MIDI config, and then go to port config. Then you want to make sure that your out port function is set to MIDI and that you are outputting to MIDI as well. So both of these and you're good to go. So go ahead and hit no to get out of there. So the thing about the Syntakt is that you can use any of the 12 tracks as a MIDI track. You have to decide which one it is that you want to give up. Personally, I went ahead and gave up the noise one that we had over here. So what you want to do is select whatever track that you want to use as MIDI, and then hit function and synth, and then you want to go down to the MIDI track and hit yes. Okay, and then when you get to this menu, all of these will be X'd out. So what you need to do there is hold function and hit this, hit the encoder, and then that will come up like that. So you can do that with any of these here. Now what those correspond to are MIDI channels. So in this case I have my synth set to MIDI channel 1. So I'll select 1, but of course you have any of the 16 channels. So in this case, MIDI channel 1. And from there you should have sound. So if we try the synth out, you might have heard it a second ago. You should have sound. You might notice that the sound is only coming out of the left. I probably also should have mentioned that my synth, I'm using the Moog Minitaur. That's monophonic. Well, it's monophonic, but it's also a mono synth in terms of the audio output. So I just have one cable running into the input L of the Syntakt. So obviously it's mono, so I don't want it to be just coming out of the left speaker. So I'm going to go to settings menu, go down to audio routing, and then set the external in to mono. So the difference between those is if it's in mono, then you can plug two different things into the input L and input R, and you could potentially run, two synths into your Syntakt, or you could set it to stereo and you'll have obviously just a stereo pair going into the input L and R. So, and then let's get out of there, hit no, and then you want to hit function and LFO. That takes you to the mixer page. Now there's 3 pages for the mixer. So the first page, of course, is the individual tracks 1 through 8. Second page is tracks 9 through 12, as well as the FX, delay, and reverb. And then the third page is where you set the incoming audio. So also, now that I think about it, I already had this turned up. You might not have gotten any audio when you pressed the track button because this is probably down. So you want to, of course, turn that all the way up. And then, of course, you can add some delay or reverb to the signal coming in if you want, which is pretty cool. You can also pan it. And then this one over here decides whether you route the input through the FX routing. So it's either pre or post. By default, it's set to post. So if you set it to pre, it'll go through the analog effects block. So and there you have it. I have a pattern right here. I already have some bass going though, so I'll turn that off. So if I want to sequence some MIDI here, and of course you can, if you go into keyboard mode, hit function and track, that takes you to the keyboard mode. So you can either sequence that way or you can sequence through the keyboard mode. And then of course, octave up and down are the up and down arrows, so if you want to change the octave of the synth. And if you want to record live, hit hold the record button and hit play, and then you can record this live when it's flashing. And there you have it. That's how you sequence external MIDI. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. And also please subscribe if you got value out of this. And I'll see you guys in the next video.